Firefighters and police rushed to the World Trade Center right after the planes hit. News 4's Joe Arena spoke with their colleagues here from Western New York who followed them to Ground Zero.
A hijacked incoming plane.
If there's one thing those of us who were alive that day 10 years ago have in common, it's a story about the deadliest terrorist attack on our country. And if it's a story you want, Jay Smith and Rich Bartell will give you one.
I remember right off the bat were the exhausted workers. It was a facial expression that you couldn't explain, that they wanted to help, but they were to the point that I don't think they could physically or mentally be there.
Both men were first responders for rural Metro, but at the time it didn't matter where they were from, just that they were there to help, and there in a hurry.
All told, we sent about 22 resources, 22 ambulances, and about 85 personnel to the scene. And they were there 13 hours after the planes hit the towers.
For Buffalo Battalion Chief Peter Kurtze, the act of helping was outweighed by frustration.
We didn't have a real plan of what we were going to do. We had a contact that we were to call when we got there, but that was about it. It was so early on that nobody really had a lot of plans on what was going on. We really had no idea.
What Kurtze did know is that many people were dying, and many of them firefighters.
A friend of mine from New York called me when I was at the firehouse and sounded really upset and was saying how bad everything was and that they had lost a lot of guys.
When word of the losses reached Western New York, frustration and confusion took a back seat, Kurtze says. Their mission at that point became as clear as the blue sky millions of New Yorkers woke up to on the morning of September 11th.
We pulled up to the firehouse to get our things and then head out to the train station, and as true firemen are, it went through the grapevine and a lot of people knew we were leaving, so we had about 15 people that were now going to New York City with us.
Like most agencies, there's a language only those in them can understand. And on that day, a self-dispatch was put into effect, meaning, as Peter says, we went to New York City on our own to do something. And once there were many things to do, primarily sift through the rubble. But when the rare moment to take a break presented itself, so did the opportunity to add some color to one of our nation's darkest moments.
All the way back to where we were staying, you would be swarmed by people with heroes. You get off a bus, and the people in the streets would start cheering. It was an unbelievable scene for New York City, which most people would have considered maybe a cold, busy, unfriendly place.